supply and demand versus support and resistance. Now, it doesn't matter whether you are a supply and demand trader, a support resistance trader, this video is going to help you to understand the concepts of how you can combine the two together, or you can go down the route that I suggest, which is a supply and demand trader. So I want to go through and show you the concepts in a moment on a price chart, but first let's do some sketches so you understand the difference between the two. So majority of the time, let's look at an area for people looking for a buy. We'd have a move in the market, pullback, a break of structure here, continuation, and a pullback. Now, what people are looking for as a support resistance trader, they're looking for this previous high to act as a broken resistance, to act as an area of support. They look for continuation higher. Now, this comes into understanding market structure. Now, if you're not sure about market structure, then what I suggest doing is going through to the actual playlist in the channel of market structure. It goes through step by step on how to read market structure with mapping, using internal structure. Now, that's on the channel. Once you watch this video, you're welcome to go and watch that playlist. So understanding a break of structure here to the upside, okay, we make a new higher high from this higher low, we pull back, and what support resistance traders are looking for here is this area to hold. Now, they'll be looking for a price action signal with a candlestick pattern or a reversal out of some sort to look for a buy to then continue up to break structure again. Now, that's perfectly fine, and it works for a lot of people, but there's a reason why this is working, and it's not because it's acting as a support resistance, and I'll explain why in this video. So keep watching to learn more about it. So let's now discuss why this really happens, okay? So if you're a supply and demand trader, what you're actually looking for here is where we see the market breaking the structure, we're going to leave here an area of demand in the market. Now, this area of demand is where we're going to find those orders left over, and that's where you'll be looking for the origin zone of demand for the market to pull back into for that buy to continue higher to break structure. And this is the absolute best entry area to take a trade. One, it's going to give you much better risk to rewards on the trade, and it's going to give you higher odds of taking a profitable trade, because very often we can see manipulation after manipulation here at this previous test of this previous high. Now, there is sometimes we can find that the market will hold at this level, and I'll go through that in a moment why. But if you are a supply and demand trader, you'll understand the concepts here, why we should be looking to take a trade here. Now, you may not understand why you could look to take a trade here. So if you're not sure on this concept, make sure you continue to watch to understand how this can help you in your supply and demand trading. Now, many support and resistance traders will find that this will give them an entry and they will continue up and be profitable. But another time it comes back to this area, it smashes straight through, comes back to demand, and then it continues up. And that's where they get frustrated and where they will end up revenge trading and losing more trades. So why does this work? Well, let's just remove these off the chart. So the reason this can work is, one, what we can see is as the market continues up here, we can create what we class as a rally base rally move, which creates an area of demand. Okay, so we can have also to the downside we class as a drop base drop move, which creates an area here of supply. Now, if you want to learn more on those in much more detail, keep watching the next video coming up, because it's going to go through into the rally base rally, drop base drop. But this is just a quick understanding. This is why you can find people are capturing trades off these areas, because we can create that area of demand, that rally base rally here as we break structure. Now, very often this can actually happen because the markets are just coming up to this level, manipulating people into thinking the market's going to sell off, and then they push up and break structure. Very, very often this will happen. People will get caught on the wrong side of the market as the market does this. And this is what creates those orders left over in this area of demand. As we pull back, people want to get out because they're having that pain of being in a losing trade if you don't have a stop loss. Now, if you're not trading without a stop loss, that is absolute suicide. Please trade with a stop loss. So that's one way we can have that rally base rally. Another way we can have here is what I class as the area of imbalance. So let's remove this again. On this move up here, we can have the imbalance zone. Again, this is a concept I go into much more detail inside the imbalance playlist on the channel. On the home page, go through to that playlist and that market structure one. Watch all those videos in the playlist. It will help you massively in your trading. So we can have here an area of imbalance. Now this area of imbalance will have blocks of orders left over, okay, in there if you're to take a trade. And I'm talking about those city order blocks, all that stuff. I'm talking about blocks of actual orders that remain within the imbalance zone. This is where the market will come back into that imbalance zone and then pick up those orders to push higher. Now, inside that playlist, it will explain much more detail. I don't want to go into too much detail today because we really want to talk about the difference between supply and demand and support and resistance. So that's why sometimes you can find those support and resistance trades will find good trades here based on that rally-based rally, the area of balance. Now, to the downside, you'll have that drop-based drop or that area of imbalance as well. And obviously, you have the area of supply. Now, majority of the time, you're going to find that the market will come back, okay, to these areas of demand. And that's going to give you the best trade, okay? And that's where you want to be looking for as a supply and demand trader. But you also need to take note here, because what can happen is they will bring price back to these areas of imbalance, manipulate those areas in the imbalance or just above into the imbalance, where people are going to look to take trades at this as a support resistance entry. And that's where they also lose being manipulated out of the market. Now, I'll talk about the liquidity a bit later on as well. So if you want to learn more on liquidity with this, keep watching. Hey traders, we'll get back to the video in just a moment, but I wanted to give you a gift for hanging out with me today. I want to give you access to my Telegram community. This trading community will share my chart markups and give you access to my trading strategy. But it's more than just a community. You're going to have some actionable steps to accelerate your growth with hanging out with other like-minded traders, all looking to improve their trading. And it's free as my gift to you. So just hit the link above now to join the Telegram community. Now back to the video. So let's now go into this one more time, look at one more thing. We can look for an entry here, and that is we can also see this happen in the market. We can see the market break down, we push up, we break structure, okay, we pull back, we come up, we just break structure again here to the upside, okay, and then we pull back and then we continue on its way. So what I just want to do is we'll just bring this height down so it looks better. So we'll be looking more like this. Okay, so what we can identify is that we break structure here to the upside. The market then pushes up and only just breaks out here to the upside. And what it's doing is coming back to this area of demand, okay, before we then continue up again to break structure. Now this happens over and over again in the markets. Now this is where you're going to find, okay, if I drag this across, where support and resistance traders are believing we're seeing a double test, okay? We're coming back to support again, support's holding again. That's not what's happening. Again, here we could see a rally-based rally, or we could just see an area, okay, of imbalance. Now, we could even see here the market may not even come back to demand, may push through this previous low deeper into the imbalance, okay? And this is where we can create that area of liquidity. So we can either have an area of demand here which holds and we push price higher after this small breakout, coming back to this previous swing high where we had a previous area of a rally-based rally or an area of imbalance. And then that's where the support and resistance traders are going to see this as a potential buy. Or we could not have that and we could have price pushing through, okay, the previous low after coming back to retest this high into the imbalance here. We have a leftover imbalance. We wick through this low. That is liquidity in the market. We're pushing through a previous low. Previous swing low creates liquidity. We then fully fill this imbalance, and then we see the push away to break structure again. That's another way support resistance traders can look at the market, not realizing what's really going on. Hopefully you begin to see the concept of why supply and demand trading is much more profitable and will help you to read the market. Okay, support and resistance will not help you to read it. The use of imbalances, supply and demand, market structure, that is the way forward for you. So let's have a look at price now. And we'll go through these concepts on the price chart. Let's work our way from where we see the move down, the move back up. And then we'll look at a lower time frame as well to apply these concepts. Let's zoom in to price as well. Remember what we just went through. We're going to apply this now. So let's see, this is a breakout of structure, okay? And look what happens. The market breaks structure, pulls back to retest, okay? Breaks support, retests as resistance. We have a bearish engulfing candlestick, and then we continue to break structure back to downside again. Now, even as a candlestick entry, that is not a good trade. Why? Because we're selling into structure. As a support and resistance trader that I used to trade, okay, before I went into supply and demand, this would be a no trade zone because we're selling into support. Okay, we have no room to move. If this was down here somewhere to sell, we had space, we had room to sell into. Okay, so understand that even if you're a support resistance trader, take this information away and it will help you. Now, if you do want to learn more on support resistance, how I used to trade with those candlesticks, then there is a free ebook, okay, that you can sign up to, and you can grab that as well today. So this concept here of a break of structure, retest resistance is not why the market's pushed lower. The reason it happens is, if I zoom in, hopefully you can already see this. It is an area, okay, of a supply zone and an imbalance zone. Let's draw the imbalance zone first. We have an imbalance here left over. I can draw this out, this area of imbalance. So you can see we break through and this candlestick leaves the imbalance. And again, you'll learn much more on imbalances if you go through that playlist. We pull back into the imbalance, we test to 50%, we do a full fill, then we push the market away. Now, at the same time, we also have our last buy, okay, to sell move here of we class as supply. Now, if we just mark it out as a weekly zone, but we didn't quite come back to test that supply. Very close to it. And if we were to refine this zone, I would normally look at this as my actual supply zone anyway. But this is a last buy to sell move. And again, that would have been the video they went through understanding the institutional supply and demand zones. We look at the last buy to sell move. So this occasion, it's the area of imbalance was held price and we've pushed price lower. So understanding this, we'll go down to lower time frames. We can look for entry here, this area of imbalance. We can use market structure for a structure shift on a lower time frame. We can capture an entry down to this low. So even though we're seeing this candlestick, we would have taken entry on a low time frame way before this candlestick actually closed. That's understanding the use of structure in the market. This is not, okay, a break of structure, a retest of resistance. This is a retest of orders left over here inside the imbalance zone. So again, let's continue down. We then break structure here once again. Okay, continue down. So we have a couple of things we can draw. We can draw, okay, this is our last buy to sell move of supply. And again, we don't come back to that supply. And we could also refine that to this area here if we wish. Now we also have a drop base drop area of supply that we can draw here as well. I can draw this as a supply zone. Okay, we don't come back to that zone either. And finally, on the breakout of this support, we can draw this area of imbalance. Okay, so you've got this area of imbalance. Let's just mark that to the back in case it's not. And we can see the market actually breaks away, makes this swing low, pulls back into the imbalance. And again, this is where I can look for a trade on low time frames to target this low. Look at this, look at the amount of movement you've got there on a lower time frame risk to reward. That's how you generate those high profitable trades using supply and demand and imbalances strategies. So again, this would be my breakout. Look, just mark this off. We never come back to it. We come very close, and many traders, support and resistance, would have this as a zone anyway. I would say, okay, we come back to resistance, we can sell again. This isn't what's happening. Let me explain. We have first entry here. We then break structure once again. And yes, we would have created a new area of supply. Now that supply got removed. But what's actually happening here is we have this area, okay, being swept in the market to fill more of the imbalance, to pick up more orders. We've already come off this area of imbalance, and that's all the market is doing here. It's pushing up to sweep this high of liquidity to pick up more orders into the imbalance. And that's where we can pick up another entry in the lower time frames to target these lows. That is all it is when we come to supply and demand. Okay, support resistance trades, we look at this as another retest, okay, of a broken support. But it's not what's happening. It is the area of imbalance once again holding price. So we have another push down again here. But this time, what we have is the last buy to sell candle, which creates the area of supply. So we break structure, and if we just bring this line across, okay, what are they seeing? They're seeing a break of structure, a retest of resistance. We can even identify here, we have a liquidity sweep of this high into the supply. We don't quite test the supply on this first test. We continue up, we sweep through this high, and then we go into the supply. Now, if we could have had an area of imbalance here, if we didn't have such a big wick here on this candle, that could have created an area of imbalance, and this time it didn't, but we come back to the area of supply. We sweep into that supply, but again, you see support and resistance traders will look at this as a retest of broken support acting as resistance. But now you're starting to understand what's really happening. The supply and the imbalances is where the market is happening. Then we have liquidity here on a lower time frame. You would find a liquidity reversal. The market continues to drop. Okay, we break structure here once again. Market right across. We nearly come back to retest it as a broken support, act as resistance. Now, again, we have what we class as the origin area of supply, which is here in the market. We don't come back to that supply. We then have this drop, base, drop move. So that would be a area of supply as well. Now, a drop base drop doesn't have to be a bullish candle. We can still have a bearish candle. And we have this drop base drop. Now, again, there'll be more on that and the rally base rally in the next video at the end of this video. Now, what we actually have here then is the drop base drop area of supply is what we see the reaction of. But that's not all. We also have here, and hopefully you spotted that area of imbalance. Okay, the imbalance zone as well as the drop base drop. And we come back to fill the full imbalance. Again, support resistance traders are still thinking, okay, we're coming back to test this area of broken support to act as resistance. That's not what's happening here. Here we do pull back. We create this indecision candle, okay, where many traders look to sell from, and we continue down. That's not what's happening. Hopefully you're starting to see what's really happening on these charts, and you're having a light bulb moment going off, okay? If you are, drop the comment below and tell me this is helping you, okay? You'll begin to really understand and read these markets. So again, that we break through with this candle, we come back to retest it, broken structure, acting as support. What is it really? No, it is going to be this area of imbalance in the market. Okay, the imbalance broke through, we come back, we fill it to the 50%, we push higher, fulfill the imbalance, retesting the area of structure, okay, and we continue down. Now again, we would have had here, okay, our last buy to sell move is here. We don't quite test it. I would have refined that to that candle anyway, is the area of supply. And we do have a drop base drop area of supply here. And again, the market doesn't come back to that area anyway. So this is that area of drop base drop where sometimes we can see a pull back into, like I said, or we can have the breakout area of an imbalance. That's how we look at using this. So again, the imbalance is what holds price, and we can identify we have another break to downside. So the market comes down, we hold the area of support structure, pull back. Even at this point, okay, we've broken out here. What do we have here? An area of supply. And what do we have here? An area of imbalance. Why did the market do what it did? It came back, it bounced off this area of structure support, but came back into fill this imbalance and into the supply to continue to break lower. where we then break structure here again. Now at this point, okay, we have one thing left over here. Again, we have another area of imbalance. And again, there is a tip to understanding imbalances, why this is going to be a reversal. And we have this our last buy to sell move of supply. But as soon as I see this one candlestick, and again, on the lower time frames, you could have caught an entry here, okay, and good profits. Just because we're seeing this candle making a higher low, pushing high, doesn't mean you can't get some good sells here. At some point, you will have a losing trade when the market reverses. That is part of doing business. And that's what a good supply and demand trader understands. And a good businessman understands that trading is a business. This is all about supply and demand versus support and resistance. We've come back to retest this level. We've closed through. At this point, I know we're going to take out this high, understanding imbalance in the market. If you don't understand supply and demand with imbalances, you will not understand the concept here. But once we close through this area of imbalance, I know we're going to take out this area of supply and push higher. And that's what happens. We have this one last push down, and this is taking out this low, okay, of this candle. On the lower time frame here, we're going to see some sweeps in the market taking up liquidity, and we're going to find some areas of demand. The market pushes out. What do you see straight away when we take out this area of supply? We create this area of, okay, imbalance. Now, I know this is more about understanding the supply and demand versus support and resistance here, but understanding imbalances is key with supply and demand. Like I said, when we're looking for those reversals. So at this point, we can now identify that we had that reversal. This is our last push down. This is my breakout point. So we broke out. The market's come back to retest as a broken area of resistance now to act as support. But what is the market really doing? It's pulling back into this area of imbalance. And again, look, we then have another small breakout here to the upside. We could actually drag it right the way across, come back to retest it. So support and resistance traders are looking at a breakout candle, pulling back to act as area of support, continuation. Again, that's not the way I see it as a supply and demand trader. We had a very small area left over of imbalance there, but we also have what I class as a pre-imbalance. Now you learn more of this inside the imbalance playlist, so make sure you go and watch that as well. And we continue up and we hold and we push away. Now if we look at the bigger swings here as well, okay, we do have another break structure here, but we failed to hold. We pushed through, then we push back up. Okay, we don't break out until really this candlestick, and again we can actually identify here that we break straight back through. And so there's some losing trades potentially to have here. So again, we break structure here, and this is a good example right now, this current example of understanding support resistance and understanding supply and demand. When we break through here, okay, a support resistance trader is going to be looking for an entry right here to go short. But as a supply and demand trader, that's not what we're looking for, are we? Do we have any areas of imbalances here? No, nothing ready to take a trade from. But we do have this last buy to sell move, okay, of supply. Now we can also refine that to the last bullish candle where the market comes in, and we could have had a sell here to downside and another sell here as well. So the first time we sell down, we're just selling down to fill this imbalance on this candle. The second time we're selling down, we go for liquidity of this low. But as a support resistance trader, you're just basically seeing the break of this structure and a pullback. You're not really understanding what's happening now. We want to come back into the supply at that point to look for a sell. Now at this point, I mean, on a low time frame, we're going to find a break of structure, retest, okay, break of structure, and a push down to take out this liquidity. But understanding the differences between supply and demand versus support and resistance, this is how you should look at reading the charts. So let's have a quick look at a 4-hour time frame here. Let's just remove everything off those charts, and we'll go to a 4-hour time frame quickly and look at current price. So we look at this current price in the market. We can identify the market here, okay, broke structure. We came back to retest that area of structure, and they'll be looking for a sell here. So they broke out, retest, they'll be looking for sell. Doesn't happen, and we pull back. So if we're looking for any entry here as a supply and demand trader, we'll be looking at this last buy to sell move for potential sell. Now we do come back into there and we do drop back and then we continue up. So potentially a lower time frame here, you could have caught a trade, you would be at break even, or you could have taken a small loss. Now you can also refine this to the last bullish candle. Okay, you can see the market does come up here as well, and then we push down. So at this point, okay, we're waiting for that break structure of this high. And you can see that the market does break out, okay, pulls back. It kind of up and down through this level, doesn't hold perfectly. Like I said, no, as a support and resistance trader, you would have some kind of zone here more than a level. Surely that's the way you'd be looking at it. But as a supply and demand trader, okay, what do we have here? We have a break of structure and we would have an origin zone we could draw down here. This would be my area of demand. And we also have a rally base rally area of demand. I would draw here. Price doesn't come back to it. That's area. And finally, we would have an area of imbalance, okay, that I can draw here as well. Mark that to the back. And we'd have another area of imbalance that I would draw right here. Now notice how this higher area of imbalance never gets closed through and it holds price. Just move it down slightly to the high of that candle. So we failed to close through and we hold price. That is why price held here. It's not because of this level of broken resistance acting as support. It's because of this area of imbalance was holding price up. We came through into the imbalance below. We then broke out higher here. Okay, so look at this. If you're using this as, breaking as resistance, holding as support, you would be confused as hell here. You would be confused massively here because you just don't understand what's happening. We're going up, down, up, down, up, down through price. What we can identify is we did have an area of demand here as well. So now I've shown you how that imbalance of the breakout of this level held, okay, and we had the breakout again with this area of demand where we're looking for that trade. So this level has nothing to do with why price, okay, was breaking higher. And once you understand these concepts of supply and demand with market structure and balances, that's going to make you a much better trader. If you're not sure about what I just went through here, go through and watch this again, because watching these videos over and over is going to help you to master these concepts. Now, if you wanted to have access to this absolutely free markups on the USDO markup each day for you inside that free Telegram community, then there's a link popping up in a moment to go through and join that. And don't forget to watch the next video up in this series, goes through the actual supply and demand zones of those rally-based rallies, drop-based drops. It's coming up next.